Hi, friends. This is Molly Shar. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the founder of the Worthiest Project, and you're listening to the Worthiest Podcast, the show that reminds you that you're not broken and you're not alone. Today, we're talking about sleep. Could there be a more boring topic than sleep? I mean, literally talking about sleep. It seems so straightforward. We go to bed, close our eyes, and then wake up later. But of course, for many of us, sleep is not that straightforward. And actually, it's a fascinating topic with a lot of research behind it. And I don't know if you can hear it, but as I'm recording, we're having a lovely little rain here in New Orleans, and I love a good rain for sleeping, just coincidentally. But okay, let me start by raising my hand to say that I have struggled with sleep for my entire adult life. I have trouble both falling asleep and staying asleep. And I spent years hearing about good sleep hygiene being the answer to my sleeping issues. And I spent years refusing to believe that that would really make a difference. So, spoiler alert, I finally gave in and followed the advice, and it helps a lot. But let's back it up a little bit to talk about why good sleep is so important and why it is also so elusive. So, when we don't get enough good sleep, our brain's glucose content is reduced. And this is what our brain uses as fuel, especially for solving problems and for high level thinking. And it also makes us insulin resistant. So, after skipping just one night of sleep, we are as insulin resistant as a type 2 diabetic. So that can lead to weight gain and signs of aging, among other effects. And when I think about what happens when I've had a particularly poor night of sleep, I am very cranky. So my mood doesn't rebound at all, and I can be irritable and snappish all day long. Of course, I'm tired. So my energy level is extremely low. My motivation level is extremely low. Some caffeine might get me going for a while, but the spikes and dips are really clear. And for me, after a few cups of coffee, the only thing that more caffeine does is it makes me jittery. I'm not thinking well. I don't do good work. I'm not sharp or creative. I crave sugar and carbs. And then there are two things going on with that because I don't have any willpower because those reserves are sapped too. And I also feel like if my body is asking for anything at all that might help it function at this point, I'm desperate. I'll give it whatever it wants. So a bad night of sleep then leads to a bad next day. And over the years, as I struggled with depression and anxiety, doctors would prescribe medications to help me sleep. And sometimes they worked, often they didn't. And then I wouldn't sleep well and I'd be extra groggy in the morning, or they would knock me out. But then I was doing wild stuff like getting up in the middle of the night to eat a whole meal and not remembering it. Or then I would not be able to get sleep afterwards because I would not take the pill. I also leaned heavily on alcohol to help me sleep, which again would sometimes work. But I can see in hindsight that while it would help me fall asleep, I'd be up just a few hours later, super thirsty. And then I'd spend the rest of the night up and down, drinking water and going to the bathroom. And it probably goes without saying that alcohol induced sleep is not restorative sleep. So that was years and years of a cycle that fed into my depression and anxiety, not helped it. So it just kept going. One would make the other worse, and it just kept going. When we do get good sleep, however, all of this magic happens for us physically and psychologically. And even though our bodies are quiet and still, our brains are very active during sleep. Our bodies are repairing themselves, strengthening our immune systems, our muscular systems and skeletal systems, improving concentration and cognitive function, consolidating memories so your brain can learn and remember. While you're sleeping, your brain is busy processing information from the day and making memories that will actually stick so you can use them later. Something else that happens magically when we sleep is that we dream. And there are a lot of different theories out there about what dreams mean. From Freud's theory that dreams are attempts by our unconscious to resolve a conflict in our waking life. So dreams are our wishes, he would say, to the idea that dreams are the brain's way of keeping the mind occupied so we don't wake up because our bodies need the sleep time for rest and recovery, to the theory that some people can dream things before they happen, or that we're able to tap into parts of our intuition through dreams that we can't while awake. All interesting stuff, right? So we know sleep is important and that good sleep is good for us. Why then do we do such a poor job at getting good sleep? Well, for one thing, many of us have very busy days, and the only thing on our schedules that seems negotiable is the time we spend sleeping. This is most commonly based on work schedules and as parents around school schedules. This is related to one of my other favorite topics, setting boundaries. So when we say yes to too much, we are setting ourselves up for not having enough hours in the day. And what we end up doing is subtracting hours from our sleeping time. I also think we're not honest with ourselves about the kind of sleep we're getting. We get enough to just keep going the next day and, rinse and repeat. But we don't really sit down and think about whether that sleep is truly enough to be restorative. I think a lot about the badge of honor thing, I can tough it out, or for women and people socialized as women who are expected to take care of everyone around us. This is a moral obligation to give up the luxury of good, sound sleep if it means taking care of other people. It can also be FOMO, the fear of missing out. I have a friend who used to say, I'll sleep when I'm dead, right? She'd rather get up early or stay out late or otherwise sacrifice sleep if it meant getting to enjoy some experience. And we don't realize how chronic it gets to be. Getting a night here or there may not seem like a problem, but when was the last time you had a really delicious, solid night's sleep and woke up feeling rested and restored? That should be most nights, not the exception. Something I heard about during the pandemic was the concept of revenge bedtime procrastination. And this is the phenomenon of staying up late as a reaction to not having free time during the day. So people will put on Netflix or get on social media or play a game on their phone for hours past bedtime because it soothes the resentment of not having time to yourself during the day. For many people, phones have made their way onto our nightstands. Even if we have notifications turned off, reaching for the phone in the middle of the night can be almost Pavlovian. And of course, when we're stressed, when we're not completing the stress cycle and the stress is building up inside us, our minds are often racing at night. I don't know how many times over the years I woke up in the middle of the night replaying a work conversation in my head, thinking about something I should have said differently, or drafting an email in my head that I need to send in the morning. And the other thing we need to talk about is the elephant in the room. And by elephant, I mean the other person or people or animals. Sometimes co-sleeping is a wonderful thing. It can be reassuring and feel safe to be next to someone. It can be intimate and super convenient for the purposes of having sex, which, by the way, can be great for sleep. Orgasms produce all kinds of terrific sleep supportive hormones. I'm all for cuddling in general for the purposes of bonding and comfort. However, it can also be a problem. Sharing your bed can be quite disruptive to your own sleep for any number of a long list of reasons that include the other person snoring, moving around, getting up in the middle of the night or getting up early, differences in preferred temperatures, cover thieves, and other incompatibilities. There's a term now, sleep divorce, which some people are saying helps them avoid an actual divorce. It can be healthy to set boundaries around what you need to get a good night's sleep. That might mean a new sleeping arrangement. It might mean different bedrooms for couples. In the case of kids and pets, it might mean insisting they sleep in their own bed. So, what else can you do to get better sleep? Here are the ones that make a big, big difference for me. First of all, ditching my phone at 8 p.m., which is about 2 hours before I want to be asleep. And there are two things around this. The blue light emitted by electronics is known to inhibit the release of melatonin, which makes it harder to sleep. Also important is what we're looking at on those screens. Anything that is stressful or even really interesting is going to be stimulating for our brains. It's going to release cortisol, which will wake us up. So around that time, around 8, I start my evening ritual, which signals to me, to my mind, that it's time to start shutting down. I might have a cup of tea or take a bath. I brush my teeth. I do my skincare routine. I get into my comfy pajamas. I turn down the bed and arrange my pillows and set the temperature in the room. And then I read for a while in the living room an actual book in my hands, a book. Sometimes I'm up and down a little bit. If I'm feeling restless, I'll try to sit with it. Sometimes that means that I need to do a brain dump, which is a sort of half journaling and half making lists of whatever's running through my mind that I can review in the morning and see if there's anything that I need to act on. I have a magnesium spray that I use that helps. Magnesium is great for reducing stress, calming our nervous system. It balances blood sugar levels and relaxes muscles. And it's actually more effective to apply it to the skin than it is to take it as a pill because it loses a lot of its power during digestion. So when I finally start to get sleepy, I go to bed and will put a sleep meditation on. So my evening routine is really important. My morning routine is also important. Getting a good night's sleep actually starts that morning. I do love having a cup or two of coffee, but I do it early and I don't have any caffeine after 8 a.m. Exercising during the day is also helpful for sleeping. And not just because you feel physically tired, but when you exercise, you get micro tears in your muscle tissue, which your body then needs to repair. So, all of that repair work will get your body to invite a deeper, more restorative sleep. Meditation at any time of the day helps sleep. So if you get up and meditate first thing in the morning, you're banking that benefit for bedtime. Finally, going back to your sleep environment, think about how you can create a space that is a sanctuary for sleep. Keep screens out of the bedroom. That means phone, laptops, tablets, and televisions. Make sure the air is fresh and clean and smells good and makes you feel relaxed. One great thing to do is to bring plants into your bedroom. Plants make us feel calm and happy. Plus, they are really great at filtering the air. And English ivy is one of the best options in terms of filtering. Also, have a reading light that you can switch off from your side of the bed so it's easy to do that when you are at your sleepiest. Make sure that it's bright enough to read if you're doing that, but not brighter than it needs to be. Sound machines can be helpful in creating white noise or pink noise, which can signal to the brain that it's time to sleep, and also cover up any noise from another person or from outside your room. Make sure your room is as dark as possible. Pitch black is the ideal. Light is actually absorbed by our skin as well as our eyes. So, night lights or lights coming through curtains can inhibit melatonin production. Do what you can to make your bed as comfortable as possible. If a new mattress isn't possible, try a mattress topper. Figure out your perfect pillow setup. What is going to work best for you, and then put that in place consistently. All right, I'll wrap it up there because I've either given you a lot to think about or this episode has itself put you to sleep. I'm going to drop a nice short sleep meditation into the show notes for you. If you are listening to this podcast elsewhere, you can navigate over to worthiest.org/EP6 to find that meditation. And while you're there, be sure to click the link to sign up for the podcast mailing list, to be sure you don't miss future episodes and the lagniappe, as we say in Louisiana, the extra bonuses in the show notes. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful night full of restorative sleep ahead. I'm Molly Shar, and this is the Worthiest Podcast.